inside of the Dynasty Draft Room. This is the Draft Seminar. I'm your host, Matt Hicks, the FF Educator, joined as always by John Lobb, the Gridiron Scholar. John, I am fired up for today's episode because I love KJ Hamler, the twitchy, athletic wide receiver out of Penn State. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and jump into the intro?
You know, he's awesome and fascinating player to watch. I mean, you think about Penn State, I'm old school. When Penn State played defense and were known as linebacker U and running back U. Now, all of a sudden, between Mike Gesicki, Saquon Barkley, and we had Chris Godwin, and now KJ Hamler, Penn State is producing top-level NFL athletes. It's pretty amazing. And go back to KJ Hamler. He's an electrifying, undersized playmaker, and he leaves Happy Valley after 3 seasons. As a high school senior, unfortunately, he missed the season due to injury, but he was rated as a 4-star prospect by many scouting services, and he competed at the opening and captured the MVP award at the Rivals Camp Series. So he gets onto campus with a really nice resume, but he missed the entire 2017 campaign at Penn State with an ACL tear, and he took a redshirt season. Finally, as a freshman in 2018, he established a school record for freshmen with 1,417 all-purpose yards. And against Ohio State, he hauled in a 93-yard pass, which was the second longest in program history. He was named Freshman All-American by Football Writers Association of America. He was a returner and all-purpose freshman All-America by The Athletic and honorable mention All-Big Ten. He was so good. But last year, Matt, he was even better. He was second team All-Big Ten with 56 catches for 904 yards and 8 touchdowns. And we need to put that in context. The Nittany Lions had a change at the quarterback position, and they had a very inexperienced offensive line. So those numbers were pretty amazing when you understand what Penn State went through this year on offense to get the football into his hands. What do you love about him, Matt?
John, I will tell you, when watching film, there are only a few guys at this point who really make me jump out of my seat. And I came into the film review of KJ Hamler with high expectations because everybody had said how energetic and electrifying this player is. And I got to tell you, he still surpassed my expectations. Now, I think he has some limitations in terms of what role he will fit in the NFL. But I got to say, when watching his film, it was one of the most exciting reviews of any player in this class. And that is saying a lot because we know this is a stacked class and a stacked wide receiver class especially. So why don't you go ahead, John, and talk to us a little bit about his production before we jump into the film review.
Absolutely. And, you know, Penn State has been a very nice school for college fantasy football fans, and KJ Hamler was one of those players this year that I watched often. Now, when you look at the career stats, the first thing is he only has 98 career interceptions, but he's leaving campus after only 2 seasons. So you're not going to get that prolific, 160, 190 receptions. He wasn't on campus long enough. But his yards per reception, 16.9. This young man makes plays on the field with the ball in his hand. Now, for the 2019 season, his catch percentage was 60%. And I really think that is much better than people give it credit for, because Penn State did not have the most productive quarterback. He was good, and I like the passing game, but he's not there, like Jalen Hurts in a Lincoln Riley system, completing 72% of his throws. And his team aerial dominator was 31%. KJ Hamler was very productive despite defenses trying to shut him down. Now, I really wanted to see this young man compete at the combine. Unfortunately, he suffered a hamstring injury, and we don't know exactly what his 40-yard dash is, what his explosion, what his burst is. But I do feel real comfortable reading reports and watching the film that he is clearly a quick twitch athlete who can hit second gear very fast. Matt, what does the film say?
John, let's go ahead and let the film speak for itself here and jump into it with KJ Hamler, the wide receiver out of Penn State. We're going to get things going here with his game against Pitt. He is a twitchy yak monster. He catches the ball 8 yards off the line of scrimmage, jukes this Pitt defender in open space. Oh, second guy gets past the third guy. He's running east and west just as good as north and south. Gets past the fourth guy. He makes 60 yards out of a 6-yard catch, John. He plays bigger than his size. You could see against Minnesota. He catches the ball in the middle of 3 defenders, and he gets dragged down by Antoine Winfield Jr., one of the top safeties in his class, but it takes a lot to get him down. He torches this Michigan defensive back here, separating with his speed off the line of scrimmage. It's close, but once he gets that first step, it's game over. That's a touchdown for Penn State via KJ Hamler, a versatile athlete. You can see here he takes the jet sweep, has good field vision, is elusive, great contact balance for a guy of his size. Now, John, Penn State used him all over the field. I think he probably will live in the slot as an NFL player, but your NFL team, if they're getting KJ Hamler, they are getting a difference-making player.
Absolutely, Matt. Now, I do believe he's a chess piece who has a really nice ceiling with a decent floor in the right organization, in the right scheme. And right away, 5'9", 178-pound jitterbug. And you showed it on the film. He easily eludes tacklers, and he explodes in the open field and in the slot. He has blazing speed to attack the secondary vertically. Look at very good offensive coordinators no longer just use the slot as like drag routes across the middle or short routes. You want explosive playmakers who can get 30 yards down the field and even get behind the safety. He can do that. He's an ultra-quick competitor who effortlessly darts and weaves through traffic, as you showed on that film. Astounding acceleration in and out of breaks, and splendid suddenness as a route runner. He's not a natural hands catcher, and he occasionally allows the ball into chest. That concerns me a little bit. And I'm worried because bigger and physical corners at the NFL level, they are going to press him immediately at the line of scrimmage and force him to beat the press coverage. Now, to me, he projects as a slot receiver. I have him on a spectrum. Santana Moss, if you're old enough to remember when Santana Moss came out of the University of Miami, and Cole Beasley, who currently plays for the Bills. I think he has a very nice career ahead of him, but I don't ever picture him being the alpha male with like 90 receptions in a season. Matt, what is a Dynasty Draft Room grade him out?
John, we have him graded out here at an 82.7. That is a consensus grade from 3 different analysts. It projects him to be a mid-level starter. We think he has amazing athleticism, superb speed. We talked about his ability to be a yak threat, yards after catch right at the next level, and has brilliant body control, especially for somebody as twitchy as he is. We have high praises for KJ Hamler, and we shocked many. On our tape grade, he grades out as our 4th highest wide receiver on consensus. So even in this stacked group, we really like him here. And so singing his praises, like I said. You can see all of John's fantasy football rookie guides at footballdiehards.com. And John's on Twitter at Gridiron, SCHOL 91. I'm on Twitter at the FF_educator. You can find all my work at dynastydraftroom.com, and that does include the aforementioned fantasy football rookie guide. The 2020 guide here is now available for download. It's chock full of information, just like what we've given you here today for KJ Hamler, but even more. Class is over. Thanks for listening.